second edition of The Writist. Now, The Writist, I am The Writist, mtk the Writist, baby. And it's because back in 1997, I came up with that word, Writist. Because I was thinking about how digital, especially since Apple, Steve Jobs, and the Macintosh, when I was in high school and so on, was changing the way we write, and design was just bursting forward, and the digital generation was taking over everything. You know, like my first novel, Mood, is a novel that has a graphic element that you have to, it's still never been made. We should make it, by the way. But the thing is, I was like, in one of my journals in 1997, so there is provenance, I said, we'll be writists. We won't be writers anymore, we'll be writists. Because you have to have the art elements, graphic design elements, and so on. So that was 27 years ago. No, 17 years ago. No, 3 plus 24. 27 years ago, I came up with the word writist. And now this year in 2024, 2567 BE, by the way, Buddhist era, going to be 2568 next year. I made a book. So I published one edition of this book, a fine art edition of 9. Then I made 101 of the second edition, okay? So these are the last 17 of those, and my objective is to get them made before midnight tonight so that the date on these will be accurate, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to work on them in the new year. I want to be finished with this. So we are attempting to finish The Writist, which was conceived in San Francisco, in the Sunset District, in this year. So my general methodology, as you may know from watching these previously, is I make 5 of them, and then I make covers. So let's make 5 of them. These are the last 17 of these, and let's see, I made the copies at the Kinko's copies in not Burlington. Where is it? Out there by the Stonestown Mall, you know. There's a FedEx Kinko's out there. So I would say that methodology was something that in the 1990s here in San Francisco, in the Mission District, the person or persons I saw doing that the most were artists that were members of the Mission School, you know, that they call it that. SFAI kids like Rigo and Aaron Noble, and, you know, they were making zines a lot. They were making all kinds of different things. Nothing like this. Mine are always better than everybody's. Let's get that always number 1 point. The Writist is the best. But in those days, I made zines for other people. I famously made a zine for Rigo in London that went very badly. I fucked it up. And he made me pay for that, let me tell you. Intellectually, he leaned on me for that mistake. It was doing Leonard's piece. And you know what, man? Fuck that. You don't get to do that, dude. I was helping you on my money. I used to pay money to help Rigo make art with his name on it. You know what I mean? What the fuck? So there was a point at which his whatever hourly wage was not really relevant to what we were doing. And that was one of those cases. So that's not an excuse. I made the error, I'll admit that. But, dude, leave it in the past already, fuck. He made an error that I'm not leaving in the past now. That's why we're not really talking anymore. He showed up with Gonzalo at my son's birthday. He's supposed to be his godfather. He never once acted like a godfather in his life to my son. I asked him if he wanted to do it on his island, on Madeira. He said yes. Why would you say yes then? You didn't know what the fuck you were saying. You were busy using me, dude, like most Americans. Americans use, that's what they do, and they used me, that's for sure. Though he's a Portuguese, not really an American, right? Portuguese American. Anyway, zines I've been making for what, 45 years? More. No, 45 years I've been making zines. When I was a kid, I made them with all kinds of, like, so my dad was starting helping university, so I had access to the labs, I had access to the, you know, copy machines, stuff like that. So I made a little newspaper when I was like 5 or 7 or something, probably using stuff from a school AB Dick or like, you know, mimeograph type stuff. And one of the points of what I'm trying to make, my entire oeuvre, is to not be schooled, hence outsider art, so that AI can't reproduce it, you know what I mean? It doesn't have the kind of design slash beauty qualities, but it has the conceptual elements that are imperative to anything of, I would say, postmodern conceptualization and actualization. I mean, you can't, conceptual art is the centerpiece now. There's no non-conceptual art, doesn't exist. I mean, abstract does exist, I suppose, in a way that's, I don't know. We have made a change for the first time, so like 50 of these are going to be different. I changed it from reading was dying to readers were already disappearing. Which I like better. Readers were already disappearing is the centerfold now. The old centerfold was reading was already dying, which was a little depressing. And while I was doing these, I suddenly thought, you know what? It's the readers who are disappearing, and they can appear again if you say it that way. When they're dying, when something is dying, it's like it's no longer. It's a little damning to use the word dying for something like reading, you know, which is whatever it is. It's its own entity of thing. I need my glasses. So we are wrapping up The Writist, a project conceived and executed in the autumn of 2567 BE, which is on your calendar 2025 CE. Common Era, they call it now because of the computers, but I'm going to say computer era. CE is computer era. That's pretty good. I like many things about The Writist. First of all, for 58 years, I've never claimed to be anything. I never tried to be anything. I don't want to be anything. I think your human society is trash. I spent a lot of time learning, studying, and watching it. And I've had intersections with certain parts of it, but I'm not impressed. Mine has been a time of commercial uglification. And so anyway, one of the first things I like is, I never chose to be anything, is the first line of The Writist, which is a pretty good first line in my opinion. And then there's the last line, which is, in the end, I was the first writist. So that's a pretty good first line. You know, we used to play the first line, last line game when we were young writers here in San Francisco in the 90s. We'd talk about great first lines, great last line, you know. And I do, when I write, I think about that. My first lines are always kind of, in my opinion, constructed, very much constructed objects, you know. Highly constructed objects, I would say. First line of a novel, first line of a short story. And this one has a good one. So I never chose to be anything. I never claimed to be anything. On any kind of form that I ever had in my life for the last 45 years, though, I would put what? Writer. So every passport, every visa, when they ask what my occupation is, I say writer. Because that is clearly what I've done the most. I've written a lot. And whether that writing is successful or not is a secondary sort of conversation to the point, which is I am a writer. There is no non-writing going on. Although lately I'm not writing as much. I'm thinking and I'm trying to decide what my next sort of thing is going to be. So, I haven't written a short story in some time. My last short story is called Mind Swimming, which is, you can read it online actually. Mind Swimming. And it's about a dude who is lying on a beach after barely surviving a riptide. Mind Swimming is a short story, and you know, cramps. I need water. Too Much Coffee Man. Does anybody remember Too Much Coffee Man, the comic strip? You must. That was a zine at one point, wasn't it? Fuck you, James. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I just said fuck you, James. You know, when there's people around you who try to prevent your creativity or stopple you, you should just say fuck you to them. That's what you should say. And you should continue to pursue your creativity and your liberated thoughts as much as humanly possible. You know, like, you are the pinnacle of a moment in a lengthy evolution. And we need you. We need you to be you, you know what I'm saying? We don't need you to be a soldier for the morons. Because most people signing up to be a soldier for the morons. Hey, you soldier for the morons? Yeah, I'm a soldier for the morons. Hey, what's going on, guys? You guys all soldiers for the morons? Yeah, hey, me too, that's great. But readers, we're already disappearing. Readers are disappearing. Then they elected them president illiterate. Yeah! We can elect illiterate presidents. We can elect robotic pawns that are sons of the Nazis. Because it's white America, bro. White America run the thing. White America. Fucking white America. Alrighty, that's 5. Time to do covers. But I need some water, don't I? Well, I don't know why I got to swearing and angry, but I was angry. I am angry. I'm angry at how people just don't. I feel that people treat me like I'm an eccentric, or like I'm crazy, or like I'm sick, or like I'm ill, when in fact I'm not. I'm a highly educated person. There's 5. Let's get a glass of water. I am a reasonable and logical thinker, and I know a lot. And the way I see things is accurate, not inaccurate. So, 0 viewer. Oh, 1 viewer. Thanks, 1 viewer. Hello. Okay. Covers, baby. So there should be like 3 sets of 5 left on these to finish. Right? So that's what we gotta do. I like the covers. They have a textured side, you know, which is nice. Textured, bumpy, like cottony type feel, where the Mayan word is, the Mayan glyph. The Mayan glyph on the cover is ik. Ik. Which means, or meant, the color black. Ik. And it also represented the direction, the cardinal direction west, apparently. This thing. So I find both of those things kind of fascinating. Because it looks like a microphone, doesn't it? Like to me. Digital generation man that I am. Right? It looks like a microphone. It doesn't even look like a character or a word, much less two major things. Black as a color is a major thing, and west as a direction is a major thing, you know? So I find that sort of fantastically wonderful. Ik. And so the idea that those would be three-dimensional usually, stones, right? That's what we're talking about. Carved stones in Mayan temples. The cover of this is emblematic of a carved stone on a Mayan temple, you see. Because it has that both textured, bumpity bump bump, and it has the glyph that represents ways to make it raised on a stone, three-dimensional on a stone. For example, I can show you now. And requires a brush to make it humanoid. Again, AI cannot make what I am to making now. See? Because I am to making it now, you see. You see what I am making, see? You see what I am making, see? Okay, I am making it now, you see? So, AI cannot make it. Right? And it's 5,000 years old. Human. 5,000-year-old human, right? For many years I've told people I am 5,000 years old, and they just look at me like I'm a lunatic, and I go, no, I'm saying it. If the oral tradition passed down through Brahmins was 5,000 years old, and my dad passed it to me, and his people passed it to him, and it went like that, then independent of everything I say or write or do to all of you or with all of you, I am 5,000. There's no discussion to me about it. And my representation of the self and of my point of view is that of a 5,000-year-old man, not a 58-year-old one, which is what I am soon to be. 50 bloody 8. Yay, 58. What a joyous existence, he said. But remember, you must, well, yeah, I don't know if you must, but the move is to exist in the hopes that there may suddenly be a reason that you don't even know about right now. And that has nothing to do with God, who doesn't exist. So perfectly as a notion, you see, existing with intention for the harmonic to reverberate makes you think you ought to last, I think. You know, don't kill yourself. That's a foolish idea. Okay, boom, there you go. Eine kleine Zine. Eine kleine Zine. Housekeeping. Eine kleine Zine. Hey, eine kleine. Get your zining going on here. And so, the second edition, it is bound and it has a cover. That makes it, in my opinion, not a zine. It's a book. I have published it. It is a book. Therefore, it has a copyright date, and it has a author, and it has a publisher, a press. The press is Wulgum Press. Wulgum. A Tamil word. Wulgum. Wulgum Press presents The Writist. And because I decided to do this in public, I made these in public a lot this time. And I'm making videos of making them this time because who knows how much longer I'll be alive on this planet. And this is, for the first time, a self-promotive object. I mean, it's very much about the centerfold is my writer's union card, so if you think about it. The whole point of page 2 of this book is hilarious, in my opinion. So, 101 of these, 9 of the first edition, means in total I published 110 of, well, I will have published 110 of The Writist. Now, if anyone tries to call themselves The Writist or use the word The Writist, I feel quite honestly that via regular rules of the game, they need to inform me. You need to tell me. You need to say, hey, I'm going to call myself a writist or writist. Describe something. And if they do that, I'll be like, cool, dude. Slap an MTK on that baby. Because I am the author. I am the man who coined the term 20-something years ago, and have been the first to write, publish, and create a book defining it via the mechanism of context. So, I think it's indisputable that I have now claimed a word in English. It is mine, baby. I am MTK, the Writist. Now, when I lived here, I used to take like Sharpies and things and draw on my clothes, I remember. I would like write stuff on my clothes, poetry and prose phrases and sayings and agitprop and fucking all kinds of stuff. And there was one, I remember, it was a white hooded sweatshirt, right? White hooded sweatshirt. And I had taken gold Sharpie paint pen. And I had taken the word novelist. And I'd written it in 8 different anagrams. So it said like lives not, or so it was all different variations of the word novelist, which I liked. But the word novelist was not there. You know what I'm saying? It said everything except novelist, but with the letters of Novelist. Right? So part of it is like a dance, a game to hide the ego from their humanity. Because they're so eager to put you in a box, as they say. And now I've created my own box. I am, at this moment, the first and the one and only Writist. So in a way, the reason why I do it publicly and make videos and stuff is to kind of, be even more possessive of the term, or of the concept of the Writist. Why? I don't know, it's funny. I've never done it before. It was from a word I thought of that I thought was cute, funny, interesting. Yeah, there's your press. See, 2nd edition. Wulgum. Now, Wulgum Press published an edition of 10,000 when I was in India. I ran a press of 10,000 And that was in Pondicherry. Woolagum Press's first edition was a poem, prosaic poem that I wrote and that I broadcast actually on the air in LA at one point, the contents of, and it was an edition of 10,000. It was good. So this is the second ever publication by Woolagum Press, which if there were more in the future, that would make the Writist also, I think, somewhat, valuable. Honest. I lied to the girls in the coffee shop. I said there were 15 left to do, but there were 40 left to do, actually. Now we're down to 15. Yeah, the Writist is a San Franciscan, that's for sure. There are no Writists who are not San Franciscan at this point. We can say that. And a citoyen du monde. With Mayan and... Is there any languages other than Mayan in this? And English? I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's just Mayan and English are the two languages here. I make things of an international character because I am citoyen du monde, and because it all has to be like that. That's what I'm doing, dude. When I'm dead, it'll be apparent to anybody who gives a shit, but nobody really gives a shit, so what are you gonna do? That's the life, isn't it? My sister, my poor sister, she died, man. And nobody even ever respected her art or what she wanted to express, I think, was very much bottled up by her fucking husband. So what are you gonna do? The summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. Alright, so here's the thing, man. Woman. Layman. I think layman is what I'm gonna start calling it. Layman is good. Layman. Yeah, my personal belief is that most Americans are half-witted retards, and so it's because they're monoglothic, English-speaking fuckfaces. And so to create a word, invent a word, have it make sense, and have it be mine in English is a fun thing to do. STFU monoglot is one of my favorite phrases. STFU monoglot. STFU monoglot is great, right? STFU monoglot. Fucking look at the guy in the White House. Monoglot. STFU monoglot. Oops, wrong one. STFU monoglot is good. Okay, there we go, homies. Rocking in the free world. Yeah, right. Neely Youngus. I miss that guy. I don't know what he's doing lately. really youngificon. There were all those guys. So yeah, those mission school guys also had friends who were, because of SFAI being so connected, right? There was a kid who did, I don't know, video, some kind of video crazy stuff. You know? I remember. Dude, I don't think she's not. I think you're smarter than her, dude. That's what makes the cramping. Is the folding. That's alright though. It's all good for me in the end. Burns calories, as they say. Burns calories, dude. What you doing? I'm just burning up some calories, man. Burns calories. Oh, man. The Writist by mtk-on-the-mic. MTK. 2024. Computer era. $2567 Buddhist era. Man, I need more water. I had too much coffee this morning without having water. That's what's happened here, my friends. Friends, ha! I mean that in the most pejorative sense. Pejorative? Is that the right use of that word? A Woolligum Press, 2nd edition. The Writist by mtk-on-the-mic is the greatest book ever written by a human being because it is an Ouroboros snake who eats itself while at the same time introducing the author. That's what the lecturers should say. How many have I done today? I did 5 at the coffee shop, I did 5 at the other coffee shop, I did 5 here, that's 15 so far, right? I did 5 yesterday. You know, I was never technically, I don't know how to describe what I was in book. I refuse to join things as an issue. Because I don't want other people's frickin' influence, and I don't want to be associated with things that I don't disagree with. I mean, I don't agree with, you know what I mean? To ever be part of the record, my record. So I have a habit of not joining shit, you know? Plus, I'm always older than everybody, seems like, and they're all younger than me. They don't have fucking clue what the fuck I'm talking about 80% of the time. I mean, it's a fool's game to join something that dos, no, uno, art in the end is burning calories. Burning up them calories, baby. Yeah, even when I was around those kids, and they would make things that were very self-promotional. I mean, that's kind of all the art, whether it's guys who would say, well, I'm doing self-portraiture because I don't have someone else to paint or draw, and I can really go in on my own face. That's why you do a portrait, right? A self-portrait, I mean. Then you can work on a, accurate portrayal of whatever you're trying to get. Eyes, nose, ears, blah, blah, blah. And, dude, did I just miss that? The fuck I did. And, I always found that really awkward. Like, then came the era of the selfie, which was even nuttier. Like, now, just everybody was doing it, just taking pictures of themselves. So I started doing it as a matter of the same principles of the art principle. I was like, that's a great idea. If I could use every one of these cameras to take a picture of myself, then I can figure out how this camera will be better used or differently used. Take a picture of someone or something else. And then I kind of just got over the idea of self-consciousness. Although, I'll tell you, from the dopamine recepting social media universe or whatever, I've noticed it's clear as a bell that I have a very good voice, obviously. So the whole thing is, if I do anything just me speaking, and you don't see my face, the view count goes way higher. And if you see it, you can totally see anything that I'm on, where you can see my face, the view count is way less. Because people are not interested in looking at me. So that is definitely a part of what I grew up in the United States. It is a racist, profoundly racist, and very specifically marketed society that empowers, whiteness over all else, and then certain types of behavior within which you can function as a non-white, I would say. But that's it, And you can chisel your way up using mechanisms like Christianity, Protestantism, whatever, But ultimately, they're not truly what they say they are. They're not truly allowing you or expecting you to behave yourself. To be yourself. They want you to behave yourself, not be yourself. That's a good way of putting it. And that is not free society, is it? No. It is not. It could start with your name. Like if your name is, Jiangsheng or something like that. You have to be Jimmy. If your name is Robert Zimmerman, you gotta be Bob Dylan. If your name is Alan Konigsberg, then you gotta be Woody Allen. If your name is Karthik Tyagarajan, like my name is, then you gotta be MTK. MTK the Writist, coming at you live. Hello, welcome. I don't know if there are any viewers or not, I cannot see. But the readers, were already disappearing. That's such a nicer line, honestly. Than the dying line. The dying line is mean. Oh, by the way, I finished T.C. Boyle's book, Blue Skies, which was really good. And I was thinking about how it's a really intense book, and it can be very depressing, if I'm honest. And it's also relieving because he is honest, so we have to be. And I was thinking about how in that book, at the very end, on literally the last page, something beautiful happens. Something really beautiful happens on literally the last page, which changes the tone as you leave the book in such a way that there's a tiniest bit of hope. And that tiny bit of hope is like, I don't know what to say about that, but I think it's important. And I've been very much Dorothy Parkering things for a lot of years, I'm like, everything's doomed to fail. It's all going to shit or whatever. And I was thinking about how, TC, he really, after all this terrifying stuff that happens in this book to these people and to the whole situation, is insane. In his book that he composed, that there's a very sort of beautiful way that he brings hope through the tiniest of creatures in the end. That is something really that's quite an accomplishment in my opinion. He's very good. I am a fan. And a student of his, I learn from him all the time, in my opinion. He's like one of these guys who, Tarantino, it reminds me of like with Tarantino. With Tarantino, I like Quentin Tarantino, I guess. There's some of the stuff I really like a lot. But it's more that I learn like crazy. When I go to see a Tarantino film, I learn all this stuff about filmmaking, which I never thought about before. Because he just takes chances with filmmaking in a way that's really exposed. And I would say Blue Skies, if you get a chance, is a great novel. You should read it. The last page is something really light. Enlightening, that's the word. Enlightening is what it is. It's enlightening. It is very American. He is very American. We, I guess, are very American. And there's something about that that I think is, I don't know, relevant maybe somehow. But at the same time, it's terrifying because he's with me in the minority after this recent election, and the capitalists, the gross capitalist is now in charge. It's going to be very frightening for humanism and for environmentalism and many of our. So I do fear future fiction that T.C. Boyle has written in Blue. Like he normalizes what might be our lives in a few years, given that we can't stop the overheating of the planet and the carbonification of the ocean and the other issues that we're struggling with. So he projects himself into the future as a novelist, and he writes about what's going to be like living in those times. What's it going to be like to have very little of a lot of things that you have normally now, and have the temperatures be insane, and have fires be happening all the time, and the preciousness, the delicacy of life. Delicacy? Delicacy is used for food so much, but not so much. Delicateness, delicate nature, delicatessen? Anyway, novels. I'm now reading Tawara Yoko's book from 22. Scattered Across the World, I think that's what it's called. Something like that. English translation, which is quite an accomplishment. She is just really amazing design. Translations are a big part of it, obviously, but she's also just got some conceptual, interesting mind. And she's really consuming a lot. She's talking about saying STFU polyglot, and she's STFU monoglot. She's the polyglot I want to hear from most, you know. Tawara Yoko is the polyglot I want to hear from most when I say shut the fuck up, monoglot. Because as a novelist, she's really taking the blending of all language seriously. And I really admire that. That's not something that's easy to do. By any means. Yoko Tawara is actually featured in The Writist. As the book on the page that refers to books and cell phones. Because that's the book I'm reading now. Sorry, TC. It could have been your book if I had started this 1 month later. It would have been Blue Skies. Instead, see, it's Yoko Tawara. So when it says, newspapers, magazines, and even books are disappearing into tablets and phones, but I still love reading and writing with the feel of paper. Yoko Tawara is the book that I've drawn. There. Coded messaging and the memeing of the... You know what I'm saying. 5 at a time, baby, 5 at a time. You know what I mean? On the last day of 2567, BE 2567, a BE. But readers were already disappearing. Readers were already disappearing when I got my union card. That's what I mean about being negative. I'm like, because I definitely feel like of a generation that saw everything get shittier. Like, it was better before, and I caught the very tail end of it being better, and then it just got all shittier. Like, everywhere. And that could just be because of, I mean, just time, when you're born, and we are the middle children of the human population explosion. That's what we have to take responsibility for. We are the middle children of the HPE, man. Mr. President. We are the middle children of the human population explosion. So that's our responsibility, dude. We didn't ask for it, but we got it. Our parents and their parents and the whole deal of population, what do you want to call it? Population explosion because of science being able to control disease and do all kinds of other things. That all happened in our lifetime. And we went from 1.5 billion people on this planet to 8 billion people on this planet. So, whether we like it or not, we are the middle children of that human population explosion, you see. And we must, in my opinion, take responsibility for it. You can't just keep partying thinking it's not happening. It's obviously happening. So, the fear we have is that they're going to be much more brutal now to those who do not have what they need to survive. If anything, they see them as fodder for a natural death rate based on the resources of the planet. It's terrifying, I know, it sounds terrifying, but they've done nothing but make movies and books about it for the last decade and a half. They make their own apocalypses, don't they? If you keep remaking the message gets made. So, I don't know, dude. What do you do with that piece of datum? File it away in your cabinet of Caligariism? I do not know the answer. I'm just the Writist, bro. That's all I am. I'm just the Writist. You can't ask me to solve nothing. Nobody tells me nothing. Five at a time, baby, 5 at a time. The Writist is San Franciscan, you can say that if you want. The Writist is definitely San Franciscan, because I wrote the word in 97 here, and I'm making the book here. Those things are definitely on purpose. You can say the Writist is San Franciscan. There's things I like about that from a hoministic viewpoint too. I like homonyms. I think homonyms are funny because English is such a dumbass language that it's got things that sound exactly the same. So if you're not a person who knows it, you're just like, what the I, of course, was raised speaking. It's native tongue to me. Second native tongue to me. After Tamil. And homonyms are funny. So when you think about the Writist, if you say it out loud, it's to most people they're going to think Rightist, which San Francisco is quite famously left. So there's a beautiful thing about the San Franciscan aspect of the Writist. I just snagged that shit from y'all. Just took it, which I like. Because we in San Francisco will not be bound to your horse shittery of trying to make us something we're not. It's not a cool thing to do, dude. And in any case, we have a pro-business mayor now, so maybe we are a Writist. R-I-G-H-T Rose. There's always some jack-off talking about Fox News in the fucking coffee shop this morning. readers were already disappearing. Dad used to say I should never do this. I should never film myself or stream myself making art. He was totally opposed to it. He was like, that's a cherished thing, space and all this. You're making it, you're cheapening it. And I've always felt it's not art, it's not of the people. Like it's not really. The further you get away from, in all these controlled environments, all this kind of stuff, you're further from the art. It's a final object for them. It's not really an art process. Okay, there you go, 5. Time for covers. Probably the most boring program in the history of YouTube. So I am also excited to hold that record. The most boring program in the history of YouTube. Dude, what is wrong with this? Guys? Welcome to the most boring program in the history of YouTube. I'm your host, mtk, the Writist. Who's doing an Ouroboros? You know what Ouroboros is? Look it up. Ouroboros. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing an Ouroboros. Yeah, so for 2 decades, you could say, I made art for other people and or anonymously. I made like a ton of art anonymously or for other people. So the reality is that there are very few people who get that. My buddy Crow gets that. I know Crow gets that. And some other people get that. But I'll tell you who does get that is SF artists get that. Because we make things independent of the marketplace. We make things for their conceptual value. You know what I mean? Which is to any individual at any given moment. You can't know what the conceptual value or impact of a piece of art is when it's being made. Right? One of these editions of the Writist could change someone's brain pan. Right? Not likely. But it could lead them to me, and then I could change their brain pan. How does that sound? Brain pan? Last day of the year, finishing up projects, baby. That's what it's about. I do think completionism is a definite element of being a real artist. Shit that's incomplete is, in many ways, definitive of the process, but completing things is what makes you an artist at the end of the day. A lot of people see that I don't complete things and they wonder. And I'm like, I don't give a shit you wonder, and I'll complete it when I want to complete it. Unless it's dated, like this is. In which case I have a deadline of midnight tonight. Right? To finish these. I'm getting close. and there will be, what, about 50 here? Yeah, let's see. I did 50 in October, and I gave them out, and then I did a handful, so this is going to be like 40 right here, I think, of these. I gave them out today. I need to mail some to some institutions that own my work already. And that's going to happen in the next, I don't know, first week of January. First week of January, several of these will be going to some of the institutions which already own work of mine, with a little note saying I still exist, I survived all the bullshit that's gone on, and I am making art, and I would love to sell you some. Please come buy it, because my stuff is good. Then I'll send them some materials, and we'll see whether they wish to buy again. Though my new stuff is sort of expensive, gotta say. We're now dealing in mostly 5-digit objects. Minimum. And one big one that an institution would like, I think. Oh, and I have one that's $1 million. $1 million and $1 is how much the cost of the piece I finished in 2018, which is called Man, Woman, Diego, and Frida in Tens of Millions. That one, the price of it is $1 million and $1. Which, that's going to remain the price till it's sold. That's facts. Nothing you can do about it, because it fits into the context of the piece. So that's an institutional sale. That's not going to be a single individual. No way. There's no individual who's going to buy that. Because I am not well liked. I am not popular. I am not well known. And individuals don't like that. They want other things. Popularity. Being chief among them. I don't believe in that myself. I think that's wrong. Don't make idols, dude. It's the dumbest shit in the world. Very white America bullshit thing is this idol making. White man's got a god complex, said the last poets, and it's true. It's like they have to love people and be all into other people's shit. And it's not even about themselves. And so then they create a cordoned off space. It's a Jesus complex, really, if you think about it. Only one human's ever come back, right? This fucking guy, supposedly. And either you're on board or you're not. That's basically the way the shit works. You're either on board or you're not, pal. What's going on here? This one's not great. I think you missed on the bottom here. What a busy bullshit. You ended up with a bad staple, didn't you? Let's get that back. So yeah, the AI cannot make this. And the other cool thing is I made a video the other day that was little short about the AlphaGo, you know AlphaGo. Why is there no writing in this one? Did I miss one? I did. Shit, that's stupid. But readers were already disappearing. I need a shower and a shave. That's what I need. This one's poorly stapled. That's what working on the camera. That's my dad. My dad's whole thing is this, right? Like if you see me make an error, or if I'm unclean on this, or if I'm what do you want to call it? You know, not stylish in a way that makes you think I'm not an artist or whatever. That's what's jeopardizing to Dad about the being observed. You know. I don't love this one. This one's staying home. Ugh. I think I need to stop. I'm not as accurate as I was. So let's take a break, jump in the shower, all that. Oh, 2 viewers. Hi, thanks. All right, take it easy.